welcome everybody. Welcome to another Paranormal Highway. Today, we're talking about Bigfoot, and we got a big panel today. We got Ron, we got Anthony, and we got Daily Dan. Because I got Daily Dan because he does some Bigfoot research out in South Carolina, so he's gonna be part of the story. So I want to thank everybody who's here today. I just want to say a few things. I'll get everybody up here. We're gonna have a fun, honest conversation about the Bigfoot. And what I mean is, I never want to hear the word expert. I hate the freaking word expert. I don't believe there is any expert. And I'm going to bring my panel up and I'm going to explain why I don't believe in the word expert. When people use the word expert, I mean, the majority of the people have to put a face to a community. I hate to say it, but a lot of people do. No, this person's the expert, this person's not. And I always hate the word expert because I'm always asking myself, well, what makes him the expert? What makes a person an expert? So I made up a name, Bigfoot Jack from Denmark. I'm going to say Bigfoot Jack from Denmark is the expert. Why is he an expert? Well, he's been in the field for 20 years. Okay, so what? You stick your foot outside? That makes you an expert? I've been taking a shit in the toilet since I was 2 years old. Am I a shitter expert? I don't know. So what is an expert? Well, this guy's got footprints. He collected hair. I got good friends named Connor Flynn, who's got prints of a foot and hair. Donnie, Matt. I know a lot of people who got hair and footprints. That makes you an expert? You know, if somebody's an expert, then I better well goddamn see a freaking Bigfoot in somebody's backyard. Because beyond that, somebody's been in the field 20 years that got this, and I know Connor Flynn who's got a footprint and hair, and why he's not considered an expert. So I want to take this expert shit out of here. But I'm going to tell you guys something right now, what I feel that is valuable. Not somebody who's supposedly a Bigfoot expert, because all these experts, where their Bigfoot, where their clear pictures of the thing, you know, their hair they got, well, has it been analyzed? How do we know that's not deer hair, right? I say, to me, if I had a choice, if I was in South Carolina where Danny lives, if I had a choice to go Bigfoot hunting in South Carolina, and I get to choose Danny or Bigfoot Jack from Denmark, who's considered an expert, who should I choose? The expert that people proclaim, or I pick Danny? I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to pick the person who lives in that area. I'm going to pick the person who knows the mountains, who knows the sound, what to listen for, because every area is different. I'm sure the mountains in New York, actually, Ron, what state you in now?
I'm in Virginia, but I'm going to be in Danny's neck of the woods in a few days. I'm going to take a ride down.
I'm sure Virginia mountains are different than New York, and I'm sure the sounds are different. So what I'm trying to get at is I want a person with me who really knows the area. When I was a kid, guys, we go hunting every year. That was our family thing. We didn't go to Disneyland, which I might be seeing that soon, but we always go in the mountains, and we always camp at the same spot, Poison Meadows. Always. Why? Is there a lot more deer there in the mountains? Listen, there's deer all over the place in the mountains. There's deer everywhere. We camp there every year because we know the spot, we know the area, we know the woods, we know the sounds, we know how the ground looks. We know if something is out of place. You know, because we could get deer anywhere. You know, our family hunters. But we go in the same area, because what if somebody gets lost? If you, at least in the area that you know, your chance of getting lost is still there, but it lessens and all that. You know what I mean? Like Ron, now you're in Virginia. I'm sure if you go in the Virginia mountains, they're probably a lot different, and you could probably get a lot faster lost than you in the New York mountains.
Lost. I get lost going to Michael's and freaking Michael Center right now after using GPS. But yeah, you're right. Uh-huh. No, but you're right. Mhm.
That's honest. So, so Danny, okay, you live in South Carolina, and you have a lot of videos outside your backyard and all that. I'm going to ask you something real quick. Is it because where you live is your house in the mountains, or how's your house located with the mountains where the sounds you're hearing, you're thinking you're hearing, could be the real deal? Is it because you live directly in the mountains, or you live like in a suburb?
I really consider what I live in to be the foothills. There's little housing developments with lots of forest and woods in between them.
Okay.
And very little of the area I live has been carved out. You can't go 100 yards in either direction from my house and hit forest, woods, heavy forest. The area 150 yards behind where I live, up until about 1974, was a forested area. And they decided to clear the land, and they went in and started clearing the land and found an old Indian burial ground back there. And they removed all the Indian skeletons and all the mounds and stuff they found. They just removed it, and then they scraped everything away and built houses.
Oh,
And from
wow.
what I understand from the people who's lived here and first bought houses who are still around, like my neighbor's been here almost since 1974. And he said ever since he's moved here, there's been weird stuff going on. Strange sounds,
All the trees.
strange sounds, pets disappearing. Some pets, as one of my neighbors a few years ago had his two big hound dogs, ripped to shreds right in the backyard. They never could figure out what done it. As a matter of fact, he packed up and moved away on account of it.
See, that's my point. Bigfoot Jack might not know all this about your area. So when you're out there,
Let me point this out. I never said that what I'm dealing with is a Bigfoot. I'm dealing with an unknown creature, a monster. I don't know what it is. I'm trying to find out what it is, but I'm not saying Bigfoot yet.
No, you're not. But because you know your area, you know where you live, you know what are the natural sounds that you hear out there. So it's easier for you to eliminate some of the things, because like if Anthony and Ron saw one of your videos for the first time and they heard the sound, back in their mind, they might think, well, it might be this, might be that. But well, that's not out here. That type of animal doesn't exist where I live. You know what I mean? So that's very, very valuable. Because Anthony, you actually heard a sound one time in the woods. Did you know that area where you heard your Bigfoot sound in the woods?
Yeah, we go up to the same cabin every year. So I've been going up there since I'm about, I don't know, maybe 12 or 11 or 12 years old. We've been going to the same spot. And it's a hunting lodge, hunting cabin on a 100-acre lot. And we go up there all the time. And I know what the wildlife sounds like there. I've seen bears up close. I've seen bears, sharpening their nails on trees or scratching their backs on trees. I've seen mountain lions and bobcats, hissing at each other and so coyotes. So I'm familiar with those sounds, right? But what I heard that early morning, I couldn't put my finger on. That's why I say I think I heard two Sasquatch yelling back and forth at each other. I think they were trying to meet somewhere in the middle, and I just happened to be in the way of the two of them catching up with each other. And they one screamed from the left and the other one screamed on the right, and then I got the hell out of there. But I'm not 100% if it was definitely Sasquatch, but I think, from what I heard, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah. I mean, we could never be at 100% unless we're standing right next to it.
Yeah, I didn't see it at all.
On an animal a certain way, and it screamed a certain way that we never heard it before. I mean, we just don't know. What was that, Danny?
I said that reminded me of something my grandpa told me one time. And can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Wow. Okay. My grandpa always took us up to Asheville, North Carolina, to a cabin where we'd hunt deer and spend every 2 or 3 months, we'd spend a week up there. We'd hunt deer and go fishing, depending on what time of the year it was. And we'd always make that long trip every year up to the cabin in the woods. The whole time I went up there, I never saw Bigfoot. I never heard nothing weird. I was up there for weeks at a time, over a 10-year period of time, and never heard nothing. And one day I asked my grandpa, I said, you know, why do we have to drive all the way to North Carolina? We got deer and woods and fishing right down here, 10 miles from the house. And you know what he told me? He said, them woods right here ain't safe.
What do you
It's just
think?
weird that the chief of police would go all the way to North Carolina to hunt and fish instead of the woods in his backyard.
Let me ask you, hey, Ron, you know, a lot of times we say sometimes it's just the luck, being at the right time, you know, right place at the right moment for whatever reason to catch something. Do you believe that's possible for a lot of things, or do you think, you know, there is a lot that you need to learn to be able to put yourself in that position to hear things, or is it just simple luck?
I think it's a combination of both. I mean, because what happens is when you have people that are out there all the time and they may recognize what the natural environment sounds like and looks like all the time, and they'll be able to, just like in your house, when you go in, you'll know if there's a difference in your house because that's your place. Well, these guys that are in the woods all the time, like Danny himself and everything, can recognize things that are out of the normal, aside from somebody that just goes out there like just for the first time or something. To them, it could be, that's probably coyotes or something, and he may know different, you know. But also, the woods are big. So you also, I think, have to be in the right place at the right time. But then it falls back to what I just said. If you see things on the ground that doesn't look like it was a coyotes hunting a deer or a bear, then you can follow that, learn how to follow it. So it's, I think, a combination of both.
Let me go ahead real quick and put you in the scenario where I was early in the morning before the sun comes up, and Jersey, upstate New York, you know, Pennsylvania. Early in the morning, it's usually cloudy and foggy, like misty out, like that kind of atmosphere. And then usually like 10, 11 o'clock, the sun will start breaking through. But this, if you could see the image there, this is the exact woods where it happened. And then this is the audio I'll play for you. You hear it?
Yep.
You could, and then second, and you could literally hear me chopping the wood.
I can't hear you chopping the wood.
Yeah, I'm cutting wood with it. I'm cutting firewood with an axe, and one screams from the left, and then the other one screams back from the right. And
Like they were talking to each other, right?
I think that honestly, you know, after having so much time to contemplate, Eric, Bigfoot Michigan Rob had brought up a really good point. To the far right hand side was a pond, maybe half a mile away, not even, and that's where the other one sounded like it was. I think I was stopping the one from the opposite side to meet the other one. Maybe they were going to get water or something from that pond, and I was right in between them, and he couldn't get to her or she to him, or however, whatever race, sex was which, I don't know, but I think that's what I stumbled across, and I pissed them off.
A majority of my sighting reports and what I've looked into has always been somewhere near water, like creeks or lakes or ponds, rivers, especially rivers.
Yeah. So I think I think
they use the wooded lines of the rivers and the actual water itself to travel, and that's why we don't see them so often.
And let me tell you, up in Lake George, it's crazy up there. Like you got Lake George and because Lake Luzerne, I always say Lake George, but when I would go up there, I would stop in Lake George, but go to Lake Luzerne. And there's some deep patches of woods up there. And then at night, you talk about no lights, there's nothing like that. And I've heard screams up there, like yells that I've never heard before. I'm talking like guttural, like there's like just craziness that it sounds like it's miles away and I want to get away. Like, it's like, I don't want to keep hearing that. It's nuts up there, you know? So,
I also went to Krispy Kreme later on that afternoon. I bought a whole box of glazed donuts. Now, I'm not saying I didn't polish off 3, 4, 6, 8 of them, but I did put a couple out that night, and they were gone the next morning. But I mean, deer, squirrel, rabbit, anything could have ran off with those, but they were gone.
so it'd be nice to have a couple of trail cams.
You know what I
Yeah.
did?
Right?
I had my Canon camera, and I set it up in the green room that night. And unbeknownst to me, after 30 minutes of filming, the camera shuts off. I did not know that.
DSLRs, yeah.
I thought it was going to film from like 2:30 in the morning to like 6 in the morning, and then I was going to check. 30 minutes later, the camera was off, so I was kind of aggravated about that, but I did try.
Just so you know, because I know you have a Nikon, get yourself an intervalometer so you could set it to take a new shot at 30 minutes and 30 seconds, so that when it stops filming, it starts it again. That's how I get mine to keep recording like that.
Check out what my dad found the other day, because you were asking me, Ron, if I had an old Hi8 camera. And I said, yeah, I have an old Hi8 camera. I got to ask my dad where he put it. And he found the Sony Hi8 camera. So next time I go, I'm using this bad boy, because there's nothing like getting footage with one of these.
Yep.
I just got to get new batteries for it.
That's
awesome.
Anthony,
what you said is kind of funny, because my wife, when she bought me a camera, right, she bought me a Canon camera, because so I could use it for streaming too.
Yeah.
And I remember using it for the first time. It was shutting off every 30 minutes.
That's right.
Like, what the hell? And then the funny thing is, Canon came out with all these updates, so that won't happen except for that model.
But DSLRs still do 30-minute shutoffs. Like mine, I have a Canon DSLR, but it won't shut off. Like if you have it going direct, like I have mine going from HDMI into my capture card, they won't shut off, because that's what I use all the time.
Yeah. I have a Canon EO5 here, 200.
EOS,
and it's hooked up to an HDMI video capture
it won't
card.
shut off.
That's what I use.
Yep.
Harley.
It's just. Can you try again? Oh, should I try again? Okay.
Exploring with Harley.
That
Sony camera that I got, that's from like 2009. But what's good about that camera is they're great, and it has night shot on it. It has night vision on it. So, and it'll just keep recording till the tape runs out, and the quality on that is high def. So it's really good for an older camera, and you don't have to worry about it shutting off after 30 minutes. You know what I mean?
I have a Sony CyberShot that what I'm gonna do is, all these cameras come with a night filter, meaning that it blocks that. If you take this little filter off, it enables night vision, especially if you use an IR light. I'm going to test that to see, because if I could get one of these camcorders to turn into night vision, we'll be set.
Yeah, because these cameras are really good cameras, man. And the zoom on them,
oh, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's because our age is just something nostalgic with those cameras for us, the way it looked on the screen, and it told you the date, the time, and all
VHS look.
Seconds down. Yeah, I love that look,
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back what Danny was saying about water. We did some big interviews with 3 Bigfoot people on 3 different shows. Bigfoot Encounter seen by Rob of Bigfoot, Tech's Front Porch channel.
Great channel.
His encounter was off a water, where they took a boat off the water to get to a certain land in Michigan, right? Okay. So there's water there. And if you scroll down to Bigfoot Encounter seen by Marty of Noam Boss in Florida, took her family on a picnic near a lake. So again, you have water. And if you go down to Jeff Harding, it was almost exactly the same way as Rob, where he took a boat to an area. And my encounter, my Bigfoot encounter was by Poison Meadows, where it's a creek. It wasn't a lake, it was a creek. But like Danny was saying, source of water, maybe food, fish, maybe. When we had our encounter, just in case nobody in the chat, I don't know if you guys ever heard our story. And listen, nobody in my camp were considered anything of a Bigfoot expert. On our time, our encounter was, when we go hunting, we split in teams. Half the group goes in cars, and the other half go on foot. Usually what that means is the old people who can't walk are the ones who are driving, and the younger people are the ones who are walking. Okay. Yeah. So I was in the car because I was still a little younger. They didn't want me to walk with the bigger kids because, they're faster than I am. But what we do when we go hunting, so we keep tabs where nobody gets lost, is there's a trail that the walkers go, kind of like we drive off this way and they walk off the opposite direction. So the idea is they walk down the creek. And the idea is if they see a deer, maybe they can push the deer up towards the roads where we're in their car. Hopefully, we can get one. That's the theory. And then at a certain time of night, we always meet up and then we drive everybody back. It was a way to make sure that everybody is counted for. And when you do a lot of walking all day, it gets very tiring in the woods because you're walking uphill, downhill. It's not like you're walking on a straight concrete sidewalk, straight mountains in the Sierra Mountains. It's a lot, it's mountains. It's mountains. If you guys ever watched the movie Meatballs Part 2, Meatballs 2 is Bass Lake. It's near the area that we camp in. So if you guys want to know the area I'm talking about, go watch the movie Meatballs 2 with Corey Feldman. Stupid movie, stupid sequel, but there it is.
They'd lock you up for that in South Carolina.
So the night so it was not dark yet, and we meet up to the place where there's rocks. There's like big rocks. It was like that's our sign. That's where our meetup point. You pick the exact same image where you pick everybody up. So the night we picked everybody up, we got everybody in the car. And then, now we're going to drive back to camp, and it's about 15, 20 minutes where we're at, back to camp, maybe a little longer. But you got to understand, when you're driving the mountains, especially when it gets nighttime, you're driving at 5-10 miles per hour. You're not driving 30 miles per hour. So you're driving at a slow speed because, anybody knows Dan would tell you, Ron would tell you, or Anthony, you go off the cliff. You could go off a cliff. There's not like there's handles in the deep of the mountains where hunters go. So we're driving back in the vehicle. We're just driving and, we're talking. I don't know what the hell we're all talking about. But then all of a sudden you heard like a scream. I know everybody has that sound, but it's like when you hear a Bigfoot sound like Anthony did and Diddy Dan, you're hearing. And Ron, I don't know if you ever thought you heard a Bigfoot sound. But
up in Lake Luzerne that time.
It's not a bear sound because we know the woods. We grew up there. We knew the sound. And I remember I have Uncle John. He become Big Uncle Johnny. Uncle Johnny, he's like, what the fuck is that? And it pointed. And I mean, because you're shocked. What the fuck is that? And then everybody looked and you saw this thing off the road in the woods standing on 2 feet. Now, bears can go 2 feet, but as soon as it recognized we're looking at it starts to take off. Now, it never went back to 4 feet. It never went back on all four. It stayed on 2 feet. Now, I know there's videos of bears walking on 2 feet, but when a bear is startled, when they're going to run off, they go back to 4 feet. And this thing, just like the interviews we've done, this thing was tall, like, between 7 and 9 feet. We're not standing right beside it. It is off on the road, but this thing was tall. And that noise, that sound, it's hard to kind of say exactly what the sound, like a distortion, woman yelling in a way, like they like distort it in a weird kind of a way. Yeah, just like distorted. And then, of course, the stupid part of all of us is all the young people, young kids, we all jumped out. everybody jumped out because we grew up where everybody respected Bigfoot, so nobody was technically scared of it. We should have, but young, stupid, and dumb, we all start running, and we actually start running to chase it. And of course, it was way ahead. And of course, the older kids were a lot higher up than I was because they're faster, they're older. To the point, going through the woods, it got to a point where it was like, I don't know how to explain it. You're chasing something, then everything like silenced. It was gone. It was like silence. There's no sound, and you know everybody's like, stop walking. Nobody's walking. He's like, I remember my brother Bob was like, stop walking, stop. Don't take another step because you want to hear him running away. But you heard nothing, no more broken sticks, nothing. Then we did hear some broken sticks. Of course, that was the grown-ups going there and fucking yelling at us, angry that we just took off. Because you never know, this thing could have hurt us, could have done something. It didn't even do nothing. Like wasn't even close to throwing anything at us. Like when you heard Jeff's Harding story, his Bigfoot encounter threw something and hit him in the leg. If you remember that one, was that Jeff? Or was that Rob? That was Jeff, right?
Yes.
That was
Drew
Jeff.
the log at him.
Right. And now with Rob's story, when he were on a boat, he was screaming, he froze. Now I started thinking about that. Like, did we freeze? I mean, you know, you start thinking like, did we freeze? Well, when we heard the yell, I mean, we didn't move, but I can't remember like if I felt the body froze. You know, I don't think we froze like you're frozen like you froze like you're in shock. Like, what the hell are we just watching? And the reason I'm bringing that story up is nobody was Bigfoot experts. Nobody was looking for a Bigfoot. We're looking for a deer. You know, we're looking for the prize while we're up there. But nobody was looking for it. And we seen it. Now, after that incident, we all gone out looking. Now, when you go camp, when you go hunting, you're always looking no matter what, not necessarily for a Bigfoot, but sometimes you make special trips to look for the Bigfoot. Never seen anything ever again. Growing up, getting older, right? Getting more experience. I don't know, military, you learn how to live with the tools you have better than you were as a kid. Never came close to ever seeing what we saw there as kids. And I could say we're probably a little bit closer to more experience, not an expert, and never saw one where we, no expert, no ever sighting before, and we saw one. So what I'm getting at the story is sometimes it is the right time, right place. Now learning, you know, Anthony, with our interviews, we've talked about it. Like, you think maybe because Danny's hearing things because he lives there, they know that he's there. And Anthony, the sounds you heard, you're thinking they're talking to each other.
That's
maybe
what
because they know you go there, and maybe this Bigfoot kind of showed itself because that's our camp spot. We camp the same spot every single year. It was a time when people respected other hunters' spots. Nobody takes it. Nowadays, nobody gives a shit. First come, first get.
Not only that, there's a lot of game trails. You know, deers take the same game trail to the path of water, bears, whatever, coyotes, whatever. So you never know if they follow those same game trails as well. You know what I'm saying? Because there's game trails all over that area.
You did hear, you think you might have heard sounds that could be a Bigfoot. What was it? Where were you at? Where were you at during that time you thought it could have been?
Who, in relation to where they were?
Ron. I thought Ron said
Ron.
he did heard a sound.
Oh, mine. Right. It was in Lake Luzerne. It was my ex-girlfriend. Her grandparents had like this cabin up there, like this property, and they had artificial beach they created. Like they brought in a whole bunch of sand, like it was like 100 feet wide or something down by the lake, their private thing. And I used to go out there because I couldn't sleep well. I used to go out there like 4 in the morning and you don't hear anything, like nothing. And I started hearing this guttural, like yelling, but it sounded like it was coming from across the lake. And I never heard that before. I don't know what the hell that was. I've heard bears before, but I don't know what that was. And it kept doing that. And it was like, I have no idea. I didn't stick around. I'll tell you that. I went back to the cabin.
Ron was out.
Yeah, it was like I listened to it for about 10 minutes, like that. And it would do it maybe every 30 seconds or so. Every 30 seconds to a minute, it would allow out this long, like that, and just stop. I don't know what it was.
Monster Radio wrote, it's interesting to note that the Micmac tribe also called Bigfoot the Bear Man. Something to keep in mind as far as physical deception goes. And yeah, and I mean, you're right. But with the sound you heard, would you think by any chance that could seem like our sound, it wasn't a bear? Would you think at least what you heard is not a bear either?
I don't think it didn't. You know what the thing is? I don't think it was a bear. I don't think like every part of woods in the country or everywhere has Bigfoot in them. Like, I don't think, but I seen this show not too long ago, and it showed this pack of, I think it was coyotes, and it was on a trail cam, and it actually made the news, and they were screaming, making these noises that nobody's ever heard coyotes make before, and they were screaming. Now, it sounded similar to that, but it wasn't a whole bunch. Was there a single coyote doing that? I don't know, but it sounded deeper than the high pitch, like with treble. This one had more bass to it, but I have no idea. I just know I never heard nothing like that before.
And here's another
excuse me, but did you manage to catch it on camera or audio?
No, this was probably 2009. Probably around there. This was 4 a.m. I got up out of bed. She was sleeping. I just used to go out, and I went down to this little beach that they had made. And I was looking because up there it's like a Bortle 2, a Bortle 3. So when you look up, you see Milky Way, everything. So that's what I would do. I would go out there and just like to lay on the beach, except this night that freaking sound happened, and that disturbed everything. I didn't look at no skies. But it was loud, man. It was loud and like long. Like I would think each like scream lasted probably around 4 or 5 seconds, which is pretty long for a scream.
This is the last Bigfoot interview we did on the channel with Rob. I don't know what spot that I have it on, but the whole story of Rob, I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but
it's on mute, by the way. There you go.
There we go. Let's see what he says.
Cadillac. I got it all the way to where I launched it. Cindy's still white as a ghost, shaking, shivering. I put like a beach towel, I guess we had in the boat to kind of warm her up a little bit. I immediately looked for a place to go sit down because this boat wasn't comfortable at all. We just wanted to get the hell off the water and out of the boat. Find this corner bar / restaurant. It's probably now about 12:30.
Into where maybe telling the middle of the story.
And you could feel the reverberation from the power coming from this roar. In fact, it reminds me of like a sonic blast. You guys ever see like when they drop a bomb and it hits right square in the center, then you see like the shock waves kind of expand until it all across like the land. Well, it felt like I got hit with that because I take a stumble backward. Cindy, all of 5'2", 109 pounds, was knocked off of the boat. Right? Falls into the lake. And I'm staring at this thing. And you guys, when I say that it transformed, it metamorphosed, it looked from that humanoid looking thing. It looked like now a demon.
Now I'm gonna pause it right there. Now, he mentioned how the sound knocked her off. 5'2" and all that. And when you start thinking as a kid, was our sound could be like that? And that's hard to remember because we're so young, and and we're also in cars. He was on a boat where I'm sure a boat vibration is going to be a lot more versus in a car. But think about how scary that encounter was, because somebody get knocked over. In his story, she got knocked into the water. And he didn't freeze for like 10, 20 seconds, but he froze for a good, he said like 2-3 seconds. And he needed to get in the water and all that. And just think about the power, not the power of the beast, of the way they look, and how strong they are, the power of the voice.
Their vocalization.
See that.
Yeah. I mean, the military uses infrasound to disperse crowds and all of that stuff. So depending on what frequency you get it on, it could be disastrous if it hits you the right way,
And then I'm going to see if I can pull up Jeff Harding in the middle of his.
Great story.
Like I said, I'm not going to play the whole thing because, but let me see here. Bigfoot encounter. Here we go. Let me pop that up. Okay. Let me get that. Where?
Just go to your YouTube channel and pull up the video you put on.
Oh, sorry about that. Hold on. Let's go. Now, Jeff is he knows how to tell a story.
Tall. Because, like if you're standing underneath of a basketball hoop and looking straight up at the rim, that's what it was like for me to look up at its shoulders, even though it was 3 foot taller than me. I mean, I'm looking up at this thing. And when I saw its face, I could see a jawline that looked human. It was covered in hair. Its bottom lip was hanging open, kind of. What I would compare that to is if you've ever seen a bear try to wind you, and I've had this happen archery hunting at that point when I was younger. A lot of times they'll sag their lip out as if they're trying to waft air up to their nose to smell you. And that's kind of how the lower half of its jaw looked. It looked like it was lazily, lip was kind of hanging forward. You could see those bottom teeth easily. The skin looked like dry dirt. It didn't have a sheen to it. It wasn't glossy. Its cheeks and nose and around its top of its lip and its eyes, where you could see the skin, looked like it was matte black, like dried dirt, and there was cracks in it. The hair wasn't short. I've seen a lot of different depictions now of people explaining what they saw to different artists, and they get.
And I'll pause it right there, but you notice his description of Bigfoot is a little bit different than Rob. Rob looked at it as more of this thing might have not been a Bigfoot. He was thinking it could maybe a demon kind of a thing. So it kind of tells you that they are different, and everybody has different experience. I got one more. We did an interview. That's why I love doing interviews, because then you can just sit there and you compare, not like compare stories, like whose story's better, but the different things went through, because Marty of Nona Boss had a totally different experience than they did. Oh, sorry.
Very sometimes dramatic and violent, but mine wasn't. It was more spiritual. It was actually calm, and it was beautiful. It was actually a very beautiful moment, and I wasn't afraid. I just wanted more. I just wanted more. And about 3 months later, I was kind of going through some photos that my daughter-in-law took that day, and lo and behold, there was my Sasquatch, just as I had described. Same body type, same hair color, the same skin color, and I still don't share it. I keep it for myself.
Yeah. And hers was more spiritual. This one where Jeff had a thing hit him in the leg, where Rob's girlfriend gets knocked down. Hers was a little bit more spiritual. Like it made a connection. She was talking about like it. I'm not saying mind powers or exist, but she felt, because she's a known sensitive medium of some of the friends that we have, and maybe
Telepathically,
yes,
you mean? Yeah.
yes, exactly. Thank you, Anthony. And she said she had that with the Bigfoot, and they knew it wasn't there to harm them. So there's different stories. There's different. It's just, I love doing these interviews because you learn so much. Not everybody's exactly the same, And if you really think about it, not one person. Well, actually, I don't want to say that because Rob believes that his girlfriend passed away, and it could have been part of that scream. So I don't want to say nobody gets harmed because I don't want to step past that ground. But I think the other Bigfoot was more about warning. This is my area, because it's not used to seeing that amount of people. Where she lives in part of the South Florida, maybe their Bigfoot are used to seeing more people, so it's not aggressive where this is my land. Or Anthony, didn't you bring it up where maybe the Bigfoot that were more aggressive, maybe they had kids they were guarding?
Oh yeah, I was saying, maybe they had children off, with them, and maybe that's why they get so aggressive, because they're protecting the young ones. I mean, they don't know what a human's going to do to to one of them. You know what I mean?
Because Ron, because I know you've done some videos, I think on TikTok, of gorillas and stuff, but aren't gorillas and monkeys known to get really aggressive when they have babies around? Like when they have their own babies, they go to that protection mode.
Yeah, I mean, big time. I mean, they'll rip your head off like that, but not like a bear. The gorillas, they're not. First of all, a gorilla baby will probably kick your butt like that. You know what I mean? But it's not. They're not like the bears. The mother bear. Like if you're 200 feet away, she'll charge you. She'll just come in, just smack your head off your shoulders. The gorillas, if you get too close enough, they may come and give you a good crack or something like that. But they're mostly like peaceful animals, gorillas. They're not like how they're portrayed. Just because some of them have big fangs doesn't mean that they're just killers. They're herbivores, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? Like that.
Actually, that depends on what kind of ape it is.
Yeah,
Like
a chimpanzee will rip your face off. Yeah.
Yeah, the chimpanzee or an orangutan is known more to attack than a gorilla or a great ape.
I remember that story. The woman had the chimpanzee as a pet all those years, and the thing just went nuts and tore her face off. Remember that story in Florida?
Yeah, she's on the news again with her new face now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And I do want to say Monster Radio is correct, and I'm not saying they're not harmful. Because he Todd Cryptid where is it? He says something about that there are stories of them attacking. Yeah, we know that, but I'm not saying every single time that they attack, because we need to learn more about them. Now, Danny, I'm going to pull up this here. Now, of course, this is where I guess this is where you live. And may I ask, when I'm looking at this, like right here, like, are you by any chance, is that a house? Is that your house, or is that another person's house, like a neighbor's house through that woods right there?
Roughly from where my wood line begins, there's probably a small 80-yard area and then some other houses on that side. And then if you go 100 yards to my left, there's nothing but a forested area, an old country road, and then more woods on the other side of that. There's one little residential. There's one little residential area where you see the lights, and that's where the Indian burial ground used to be that they removed and put in a housing development back in the 70s.
You know, even though they remove it, I don't think you could just remove the spirits of it just like that. All because you're moving, you know what I mean, graves or whatever they're moving. Are you talking about they
Well,
moved the whole grave? I mean,
They just took the bodies, the skeletons, and all the artifacts and turned them over to the Native American Council
okay. But I wonder, even if they
to be
did that,
repatriated.
if you believe the spirits are around that, I don't know that guarantees that the spirits are going to leave that area all because you took their shell. Because I don't know, hey, Anthony, if somebody dies, and all it's all opinion, we're all skeptics. Like, you believe when your energy leaves, your body can just become like a shell and it's not really connected anymore with the energy.
Your body's just a vessel, like a car. When you die, the energy leaves and it transforms to whatever it's going to transform to. But the minute you die, the very second you pass over, it still feels like you're connected to yourself. Like I physically thought like I was still alive after my heart stopped. Like I had no clue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No idea. It wasn't until I had the guy put his hand through my chest and I woke up in the ambulance that I realized that something weird happened. You know what I mean? So,
Yep. So Dan, so the sounds you've been hearing, I'm just saying, what if, you know, these are all theories. What if the sounds you're hearing were screams of the Native Americans' ghosts, like doing their dance and kind of a thing? You ever think that maybe what you're hearing are the spirits of the Native section?
I don't discount nothing as a possibility. I'm thinking what I'm dealing with is some kind of a physical creature most of the time. 99% of the time, I'm always sure that it's, I don't know what, but a physical being. Dog, man, Bigfoot, monster, I don't know. But a physical being.
Regardless of actually not seeing it, but honestly, in your heart, do you believe there's a Bigfoot in your backyard walking in the woods?
No, I do not think it's Bigfoot.
So you don't think there's any Bigfoot that would ever like walk your forest? You're too far away from the forest. So
no, I think at one time, a year and a half ago, there was what you would call a Bigfoot, a humanoid hairy creature running around this neighborhood. And then I think something else moved in and it left. And now that other thing is here. And I think that other thing, as much as I hate to say it, I would call something closer to a dog man or a canine creature because of the howls and the sounds I recorded. You listen to the sound.
What about the word skinwalker? Because native land.
I hate that word, but it's not out of the realm of possibility.
May I ask you why you hate that word skinwalker? By just curiosity.
Because then that goes out of the physical realm into the spiritual, demonic, or possession realm, and that's something I'd rather not deal with. I don't want to deal with spiritual stuff. I want to deal with a physical creature like Bigfoot, Dogman. I don't like to deal with spiritual stuff.
And there's no chance it could be a regular wolf pack or coyote or anything.
Yeah,
well, they are a really big red wolf pack that was released into my area to help control the deer population. And occasionally I'll catch the red wolves howling. But if you listen real close to the videos I put up, right, you'll hear something that's not quite a wolf howling with them. And that's what I think this thing is. It howls with the wolves. When it comes around and it's not with the wolves, it makes guttural growl sounds that I cannot identify. And I've actually took the sounds up to the zoo and let the primatologist and the veterinarians hear them, and they were all freaked out. Like, I don't know what that is, dude.
Monster Radio wants to know, does Dan live on Navajo ground?
Cherokee ground.
Cherokee ground. So you live on Cherokee ground.
The land I lived on was once part of the Cherokee Nation.
And then he also wrote, I've studied the Yi Notishi skinwalkers. I can offer him some info. Oh, that's nice. Cool. I'm sure Danny would take any extra info. I know what you're saying, Danny. It's one thing you try to get the world to believe Bigfoot exists, and then you bring in a dog man that's more of a werewolf type of deal, and then you try to bring in a skinwalker that's more supernatural. Then that's where if people are on a fence on a Bigfoot, you're gonna be off the fence when you bring up dog man and a skinwalker. That's
Do you
just.
have any Danny's recordings of what he of these animals?
Danny, the one video I have up, was there some sounds on that one? Was there sounds on this video right here? This is the one off your 9 minutes 58 seconds. This is
My
off
creature
your
encounter.
my creatures
Maybe
encounter.
in the first few minutes.
The first few minutes.
Yeah, if it's the one I put up recently.
There we go. Let's see.
You got unmuted, Eric.
Oh,
As a matter of fact, you should go with the sounds from the short
the short.
Danny stayed near
that I sent in because you can
another
actually hear
creepy night in South Carolina.
because there's no telling what timestamp that would be. So you'd be better off just playing the shorts. They're only 30 seconds long. You can hear the sounds directly.
Okay, so this is
Which
here.
one?
This is your shorts. What's
Storm
this
monster,
one?
unknown
Storm monster
creature.
on the unknown creature.
And that sounds good.
There's something up there.
I thought I almost heard like a growl
Yeah, I heard that.
right there.
That's it.
When the lightning strikes, you can see a shape in the woods, but you can't make out too much what
In
it
the
is.
storm, do you see it?
Like something out of Prophecy, the monster movie.
Let me see if I hold on a second. I'm gonna see if
I
I can
hear
try
that.
to widen it. Is that a little bigger?
Yeah. How'd you do
There's
that?
something up there.
My mouse pad just moved like this.
Trackpad.
You see it? See it? In the storm, do you see it?
What the hell is that? It sounds like a pterodactyl. You're muted, Ron.
I'm gonna download that video and I'm gonna try to see what I could do with that. If I could catch it with the lightning part.
It sounds like a
Yeah.
pterodactyl.
Here, you want the link?
It's funny you
Ron,
should
you
say
want the
that
link?
because a couple of years
Yeah.
ago, I got a video of this giant ass bird at night flopping around my back in the trees in my backyard. And this
Yeah.
bird had to have 15-foot wingspans and was making some pretty weird noises back then.
This is nuts.
I
I
think,
like this.
Oh, thanks.
Now, since you know your area, Monster Radio Road, the yellow is more like a wildcat. I heard that many times in Arizona. Now, does your area have wildcats by any chance?
Probably bobcat, mountain lion.
I've seen bobcats before, but they're really tiny, and I know what a bobcat sounds like. It's nothing like that. There's been reports about 40 miles from here, 38 miles from here, of a big black puma-looking cat roaming like a black mountain lion. But it's actually been caught on video and been on the news a couple of times. But that's still 40 miles from here.
Play that video
Yep.
one more time, Eric. I got.
And we do have bears. I sent Eric about 3 or 4 shorts that I've made where you could actually
You
hear
did,
really
yeah.
good stuff.
They're on my phone, and I never
Pull 'em
transferred it over to the computer.
You pull him right off his YouTube channel.
Or
That's
the
what I
ones
just
you
Some of
sent
the
me,
stuff I sent him is
those
older
are
stuff,
new ones, right?
and you have to dig to find it.
Mm.
But I did send it to him. It's not my fault he didn't put it on the computer.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Up
just
there.
standard Eric.
Hey, listen, my wife's birthday today.
Happy
I've been
birthday,
busy.
Cicely, darling. All right, I want to hear
Happy
this.
birthday.
Again. I gotta hear this
You see it? See it? In the storm, do you see it? something out there.
I've never heard anything like that before.
There's a video called "There's Something Out There." Is that the one you're playing, Eric?
Storm Monster, the Unknown Creature.
Okay. On the Daily Dan blog 4 shorts ago, it's called "There's Something Out There."
Okay, I got your Daily Down blog up just in case it was on that one. And it's a short or a regular video?
Short.
A short called "There's Something Out There."
What's this? I swear to God, I uploaded his thing and I stretched it out. And if you look, it looks like you can see this, and it looks like a face, like a. If you look at it, it's you see me going like that. I'm ducking under my lights. That's why you see me going like that. I'm gonna take a
Go to the Daily
screenshot.
Dan blog. Look, go to the Daily Dan blog.
I'm on the Daily Dan log. I'm trying to find it. I got your shorts right here.
That's
And
the
it should
Daily
be.
Let me see what I could do with this.
I don't think that's the right one, Eric.
That's not the Daily Dan blog.
Oh, the
That's the
Daily
Daily
Beast.
Beast.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. That's I can't.
Dan, you got so many
the Daily
channels.
Dan Beast will have videos coming up in about 6 more days because I got a strike and I can't put videos up on that channel for a week.
Now,
What are we looking
I'm
at,
gonna
Ron?
try to show you, and I'm sorry because I'm ducking under lights. This is what I'm looking at. See here?
Yeah.
The other video
See
is
here,
more
right
clear,
here?
dude.
Oh, yeah.
See the white face like that? It's
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
shape.
yeah.
Now I blew this up big because when it's smaller, you could see it darker. So I blew it up, but you can see right here. Now, can it and see this right here? Looks like
Arms.
an arm going around something. It's hard to see
I
like
see
that.
it.
And
I
it could
see
be
it.
pareidolia. Exact. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
But Ron,
Chest,
okay, here's
shoulder,
what happened, Ron. Listen to this. I heard the noise. I jumped up and run out there and started the camera. I made 3 shorts real fast in case it stopped. I wanted to get something. You know what I mean?
The
But it
fifth one,
continued.
Eric.
But it continued, and I started seeing something when the lightning flashed. So I turned
Gotcha.
the camera over and made a 9-minute video of this night that I'll put up tomorrow. And I'm sure you'll see it and hear a lot more on that video.
And that part right there was I caught that at the lightning flash. That's why I kept
Yeah,
going
with the
back and
lightning
forth.
flash,
So when it
you
lit
can
up-
see something moving around out there, but I don't know what the heck it is.
Yeah.
And you know what it looked like? Here's the problem that got me. From the distance I was at when the lightning flashed, I don't know if you ever saw this old movie called Prophecy, the monster movie, about this freaking bear running amok. And it looked like a giant mutated bear out of that movie.
Well,
It looked like a monster, dude.
I'm gonna play this one right now. Let's check this one out.
There's something out there. See it.
You hear that thing?
In the storm, do you see it?
What the hell?
One more time.
I love those sounds.
There's something out there.
I can't identify them, and that bothers me. You know,
You see it. In the storm, do you see it?
Can that be an owl, Danny?
Oh, Ron! I think you
No.
nailed it, Ron.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you why. When
How far
Ron
was
and
that?
I went to the place out here on Staten Island, historic Richmond town, Ron goes to me, Anthony, get the hell over here. I'm like, what's the matter? He's like, get over here right now. So I come running over to Ron. He's like, look up in that tree. There's eyes in the tree. There's glowing eyes in the tree. I'm like, Ron, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, shit. There's a huge head in the tree with glowing eyes, right? And then me and him are next to each other, like literally like shook because it's pitch black. And then I'm like, Ron. He's like, yeah, I know. It's an owl, right? And I'm like, oh, it was huge. But that's the sound it makes.
no. Here's the deal. if it's an owl, it's an 8-foot owl that leaves a footprint 16 inches long.
So Mothman.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
Oh.
Because if you look at the video, whatever's out there is huge. It's over 6.5, 7, 8 foot tall. It's big.
Yeah, we're just
And
busting.
I went out the last, not this time on this video, but the time before that, when I heard something, they wasn't storming, and I went out and looked around, and you can watch that video, and I find really huge claw marks, scuff marks, big footprint.
You know, Monster Radio,
Did sound like an owl.
you're just gonna need to come to my show. You need to come on the show. You need to come on the show because you got a lot of great information. I would love to have you on the show. But let me tell everybody what's happening because we're at the end of the
night
show.
vision, Dan. You need some night
Just
vision.
so everybody know, Saturday morning I'm flying out. I'm going somewhere. I'm going to be gone for a week, but I'll be back the prior week. But I did create some uploads that I'll have some uploads during the week. But you do have wonderful, awesome shows. You got Cosmic Neighbors this Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. The weekend warm up. You know, he's gonna warm you guys up. So if you guys want to get warmed up,
massage oils and everything.
and if
yeah.
John could, he will hug you guys through the internet to warm you up and all that. And
I'm
then
gonna try to figure something out with that space program I got, so we can have some fun with
Oh,
that.
the one we were messing around with last night.
Yeah, I didn't. I was tired. I fell asleep, so I still got to learn it.
That's a good program.
Sunday, Anthony, you got a guest coming on your channel, right?
Yes, Guy Merritt, UFO Experience. We're gonna have a really good show with this. Really
That's
good.
awesome.
He came out of retirement to come hang out with us. And then Friday night, the three of us are on Alien Addicts channel at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Let's try it.
Come hang out over there.
Yeah. And then Daily Dan, you got anything coming up on your shorts coming up? Going to be coming up soon on your channel?
No, but I'll be putting up tomorrow on the Daily Dan blog, like a 9-minute, 28-second video of whatever that thing is out there making that noise. Because when it went off and started hollering, I shot 3 shorts and I put them up this week. And tomorrow morning I'll upload the incredibly long, like 9-minute, 28 seconds. Because right after I made the shorts, I turned the camera over and kept filming until it stopped. And I think I caught even more video that you could actually see something during the lightning flash. That one.
Any chance, Dan, do you have the app, What's Up app?
What's
I don't even know what that is.
WhatsApp.
It's just another form of like a messenger you could do with your phone. And what I'm saying, Dan, is try to look into if you can download yourself WhatsApp, because like if you send me videos through WhatsApp like Anthony does, I could just open up the tab right here on the screen. Makes it a lot easier.
And they don't get compressed like they do if you send it through text message or
Ron,
something
you
like
got
I
that.
don't send it through a text message. I put it on YouTube and send him the link. You know?
What did you say, Andrew? I
I
didn't
don't
hear
know.
you.
Weekend warm up. Is it on yet? The thumbnail?
No, I didn't put it up yet. I'm gonna work on that now.
And the other thing I got going on is I just started a new channel called Shock Theater Official, where I'm doing old horror movies and old TV
So,
shows.
how many channels you got now? Like 30?
No, I'm just doing like 5 channels.
There's
Just
only
5.
5.
Just 5.
Well,
I
I've
mean,
got like 10, but I don't use all my channels. I got some of the channels I started that turned out to be crap. I just abandoned them.
You know me, I love movies. Sunday night, we're gonna be somewhere. We're gonna be watching Dungeons and Dragons because I can't wait. But beyond that, I hope you guys had a great time talking about Bigfoot. And like I said, next week will be uploads, but I will be back.
Look
And I
who's
want
here, Eric.
everybody on the Paranormal Highway.
Eric.
Yeah.
Look who's here.
Maybe one day I can come back and tell y'all about the time I actually saw Bigfoot. You get around to me.
Robert Earl White. Yeah. We need to do a cowboy hat show.
The
Where?
16th. The 16th. He's coming by me. If you guys don't know Robert Earl White, the Order of Light, I was on his show the other night. He did my full interview. He did a great job with it. Go check it out. He's got a dynamite channel. It's exactly for people like us that are cool, calm, collected, and respect each other. Go check out our friend Robert Earl White, the Order of Light. You're really gonna enjoy it.
And what's funny is he wears a cowboy hat. He has red hair. My hair is considered red. Mine might be a little darker. It might not be as red as his, but I actually consider having red hair. So
You're still
man,
a
we
ginger.
could be brothers.
Still a
Or
ginger.
maybe, dude, he could be my clone. He just has a long beard. We can't tell. Man, that's
You were
awesome.
separated. You were separated at birth.
All right. Beyond that, I'll see you guys next time on the Paranormal Highway.
Happy trails.